All right, strap in, everyone, because this time we're going deep on a real-life UFO mystery.
Ooh, I love a good mystery. Lay it on me.
It's called the Scoutmaster Incident, and it totally shook up this tiny Mississippi town back in '73.
Okay, so 73 Mississippi. I'm picturing Spanish moss and maybe some.
Exactly. Rich loam, small town, everybody knows everybody.
So UFOs, we hear those stories all the time, right?
Yeah.
Lights in the sky, blurry photos. What makes this one special?
Well, for one, we've got a ton of evidence to dig into.
More than just your usual I saw something weird kind of thing.
Way more. We've got Project Blue Book files, the government's UFO investigation program back then.
No way, they actually took this seriously.
Oh, yeah, they investigated this one thoroughly. Plus, we've got interviews with the witnesses, old newspaper clippings. It's a whole rabbit hole.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. Where do we even start with a case like this?
With the man himself, Andrew McMurtry,
Yeah.
Scoutmaster, junior high teacher, well-respected guy in Richland.
And he's the one who saw the UFO.
Not just saw it, had a whole encounter. Left him with burns, changed his life forever.
Whoa, hold on. Burns? Like actual physical injuries?
You bet. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right. Back to the beginning. So this guy, McMurtry, what was he doing when all this went down?
Routine camping trip with his scout troop. Part of this Explorers Club program out near the Gulf.
Classic scout stuff. Campfires, ghost stories, and then aliens.
Something like that. So picture this. It's dusk. The boys are setting up camp. McMurtry's off gathering firewood. Suddenly, he spots this weird light in the distance.
Okay, and this is where it gets spooky.
It gets weirder than spooky. He said it wasn't just a light, more like a glow. This round shape, giving off these pulsing colors, blue, green, then like fiery red.
Definitely not your average campfire.
And here's the kicker. McMurtry swears the thing had these, I don't even know how to describe them, antenna, probes.
Reaching out like it was looking for something?
That's what he said. They were extending and retracting like it was searching for something. Now the boys, they were busy with camp stuff, didn't see the object itself.
But they must have heard something, right? A commotion.
Oh yeah. They heard McMurtry yell, then saw him running back towards camp, found him unconscious, burns on his hands and face.
Okay, now that's scary. So we're talking actual physical evidence here, not just a story.
Nope, not just a story. His clothes were singed, his cap too, and his machete.
The one he was using for firewood.
That's the one. They found it later, and it was super magnetic, like way more than it should have been.
Wow. So naturally, people start talking.
Oh, you better believe it. News of a UFO sighting, a respected scoutmaster injured. Word spread like wildfire.
And that's where Project Blue Book comes in?
Enter Captain Ryan and Sergeant Fitz, two Air Force investigators sent to figure out what really happened.
And they were skeptical, right? Like most of these government types.
Well, Project Blue Book had a reputation for debunking UFO sightings. Swamp gas, weather balloons, you name it.
But this time was different.
Maybe of the burns, the magnetic machete, or just McMurtry himself. The guy was known for being honest, level-headed. Whatever it was, they took him seriously.
They interviewed him.
Oh, yeah. Detailed interview. McMurtry described the object, those weird probes, the heat. He had laid it all out.
And they believed him.
It seems like it, at least at first. But here's where things take a turn. As the interview went on, McMurtry started hesitating, backpedaling on his story.
What? Why would he do that?
He started suggesting maybe it was swamp gas after all, or even a hallucination, almost like he was talking himself out of what he'd seen.
Almost like he was afraid of something.
That's the thing about these kinds of encounters. Even if you know what you saw, it's hard to come to terms with it.
Especially back then. People weren't as open-minded about UFOs as they are now.
Absolutely. Imagine being that guy, a war veteran, a teacher, a respected member of the community, suddenly the center of a UFO story.
Yeah, talk about pressure. So what happened next? Did they just brush him off as a cook?
Well, that's when another character enters the picture. Roy Denby, a reporter for the Biloxi Inquirer, and he was hungry for a scoop.
Oh, I see where this is going. Media frenzy.
You got it. Denby got wind of McMurtry's story, his PTSD from Vietnam, and saw a chance for a big headline. The truth about the UFO. He didn't care so much about that.
He just wanted a good story, even if it meant twisting things around.
And that's exactly what he did. Played up the PTSD angle, made McMurtry look unstable. It was a mess.
So poor McMurtry. He's caught between a rock and a hard place. He wants to tell a story, but he's afraid of being ridiculed, losing his job.
Exactly. It's a classic dilemma for anyone who claims to have seen something extraordinary. Do you speak out, risk being labeled crazy, or stay silent and live with the burden of this huge secret.
Tough call. But the story doesn't end there, does it? There's more to this Scoutmaster incident.
Oh, there's a lot more. And it's about to get even wilder. But for that, you'll have to wait for part 2. Stay tuned.
So last time, we left off with McMurtry caught in this media storm, right?
Totally. Reporters hounding him, his story getting twisted. It was getting pretty ugly.
But just when you think it can't get any crazier, enter, stage left, Lucky Primrose.
Hold on. Lucky Primrose, the guy everyone called Lucky because he always had a story for everything. What's he got to do with UFOs?
Well, Lucky had a story about that too, or he claimed it was a dream. A super vivid dream about a UFO.
A dream. You're kidding.
I'm not kidding. And here's the thing. His dream lined up with stuff McMurtry had said. Stuff that never made it into the papers.
Wait. You're telling me this guy dreamt about a UFO and his dream matches details only McMurtry knew about?
Yep. And it gets even weirder. Turns out Lucky wasn't dreaming at all. He saw the whole thing.
No way. But if he saw it, why say it was a dream?
Well, Lucky had a little side hustle going on. See those woods where McMurtry saw the UFO? That's where Lucky was running his moonshine operation.
Didn't want the law sniffing around his illegal hooch, so he made up the dream story as a cover.
Exactly. Smart, but risky. Lucky's wife, Ella, she's the one who spilled the beans.
Oh, so she knew about the moonshine.
She knew about the nightmares, told the investigators how Lucky would be shouting in his sleep, mumbling about this UFO.
Sleep talking. That's how they figured it out. That's hilarious.
Kind of poetic, huh? His subconscious wouldn't let him keep the secret. And Ella, bless her heart, she even remembered details from his ramblings. Stuff that matched McMurtry's story perfectly. Stuff the newspapers never printed.
So the investigators confronted him.
They did, and Lucky, he finally cracked. Admitted to seeing the whole thing.
Okay, but did his story actually match up with McMurtry's? Like, for real?
Oh, yeah. He described this bright light, brighter than anything I ever seen, he said. The thing moved towards him, big as a house, and that's when he saw him. Those spiny things reaching down.
Spiny things. That's what McMurtry called them, too. I remember that detail was never in any of the news reports. This is huge.
Huge is right. 2 witnesses, both describing the same bizarre details they couldn't have known about each other. It threw a real wrench in the whole swamp gas theory.
You think that's what convinced Project Blue Book? Lucky's testimony.
It definitely played a part. Remember, those guys were skeptical by nature. The lab tests on McMurtry stuff, the machete, they came back inconclusive.
No alien fingerprints or anything?
Nope, nothing definitive. They were looking at all sorts of explanations. Rare weather, ball lightning, even some crazy combo of swamp gas and who knows what.
But they couldn't ignore Lucky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially that spiny things detail. That had to make him rethink things.
It did. The fact that Lucky, who was trying to hide his own sighting, came forward and backed up McMurtry, well, it forced their hand.
So what did they say? Come on, spill it. Did they finally admit that something extraordinary had happened?
They did. Project Blue Book, the government's own UFO investigation program, they concluded that both McMurtry and Lucky's sightings were credible, that they happened at the same time, that something truly unexplained went down in Richland that night.
Wow. The government admitting they can't explain something?
Yeah.
That's not something you hear every day?
Like, no, it's not. And, it makes you wonder how many other stories like this are out there. How many people have seen things, experienced things that just don't fit into our neat little boxes of explanation? It really makes you think, doesn't it? 2 guys, same time, same place, seeing the same bizarre thing, and they didn't even know each other.
It's mind-boggling. Like, what are the odds? And it wasn't just what they saw, right? It was those details, the spiny things, the burns. Stuff that just doesn't have an easy explanation.
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating about the Scoutmaster incident. It pushes us to consider, what if there's more to our world than we realize? What if there are things out there, phenomena, that we just don't have the tools to understand yet?
Yeah, it's easy to dismiss things we can't explain. But sometimes, maybe we need to look at those unexplained things, not as mistakes or hoaxes, but as clues. Like little hints that our picture of reality isn't quite complete.
I like that, clues. It's like we're all detectives in a way, piecing together a giant puzzle. And some of the pieces, well, they just don't seem to fit with the rest. But maybe those odd pieces are the most important ones.
The ones that lead us to a bigger picture, right? The ones that force us to expand our thinking, to question what we think we know.
Exactly. And that's what the Scoutmaster incident does, I think. It challenges our assumptions, makes us wonder if there's more to the universe than meets the eye, more than our science can currently explain.
It reminds us to be curious, to be open-minded, To not be afraid of the unknown, but to embrace it. To search for those answers, those clues, even if they lead us down a rabbit hole.
Because sometimes those rabbit holes lead to amazing discoveries. The Scoutmaster incident might not have all the answers, but it definitely opens up a whole lot of questions. And I, for one, am excited to keep exploring them.
The truth is out there, waiting to be uncovered.
The truth is, here